How you doing? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Narcissistic Siblings. Is your brother or sister a narcissist? Understanding Narcissism. That is the title of today's episode. How to deal with your narcissistic sibling. Narcissistic sibling relationships can be a source of immense emotional pain and distress for those who experience them. When one sibling displays traits of narcissism, such as an inflated sense of self-importance and a lack of empathy, self-centered, and intense need for admiration and attention, it can create a toxic dynamic within the family. This can result in the affected individual feeling powerless, invalidated, and dismissed. Narcissistic siblings are often difficult to deal with, and they can cause a lot of emotional stress to their family members. Narcissistic siblings often display selfish and manipulative behavior, placing their own needs and desires above those of their family members. They may use tactics such as gaslighting, emotional blackmail, triangulation, future faking, to maintain control over their siblings and other family members. Narcissistic sibling relationships can be highly damaging, and they can cause long-term emotional and psychological harm to the affected individuals. Narcissistic siblings are excessively preoccupied with their self-worth, and they view themselves as superior to others. This can be a very difficult relationship, as narcissistic siblings will often put their own needs above those of their siblings. They may also be constantly critical and dismissive of their siblings, leading to feelings of betrayal and hurt. A narcissistic sibling is someone who loves to torment his or her siblings. Everyone, I'm sure, has heard of sibling rivalry, but narcissistic sibling relationship are toxic. Even siblings with just a few narcissistic traits can make family dynamics complicated, exhausting, or unhealthy for the rest of the family, including you. Narcissistic siblings can have a significant impact on family dynamics. Let me give you examples of how narcissistic siblings can affect family dynamics. There is the sibling rivalry. Narcissistic siblings may view their siblings as competition for attention, validation, or resources, and they engage in constant power struggles and rivalries. Then there is favoritism. Narcissistic siblings may seek to ingratiate themselves with parents or other family members in order to gain favor or special treatment, leading to feelings of resentment and jealousy among other siblings. Then, narcissistic siblings may also engage in manipulative behavior, such as lying, gaslighting, to turn parents or other family members against their siblings and gain an advantage. Narcissistic siblings may use emotional manipulation tactics, such as guilt tripping, blame shifting, playing the victim, to control and manipulate their siblings. Narcissistic siblings may cause disruptions or drama during family events such as holidays or weddings by demanding attention, causing conflicts, or creating scenes. Now, narcissistic siblings are they have this entitlement. They will always treat you like you owe them something. They feel more important than you, and they believe you should be sacrificing more for them. Narcissistic siblings also monopolize the parents' time and attention, and they justify their behavior by saying that they are the favorite child. Narcissistic siblings, they lack empathy. We know sibling relationships are supposed to be a two-way street. An older sibling might provide guidance and look out for the younger one, and the younger one will usually defer to the older sibling during childhood. But a narcissistic brother or sister expects you to coddle them in their feelings, but will give a blank stare or become irate if you express yours. Narcissistic siblings never accept responsibility. They always want to be the center of attention. They are jealous. They point out flaws in your appearance. Narcissists always find flaws within themselves, and they project them onto others. A narcissistic sister, for instance, is usually obsessed with her appearance, and they will find any way she can to criticize yours. She lies all the time. Narcissists live in their own reality, exaggerating their successes and sweeping their failures under the rug. A narcissistic sister will lie about mundane things too. It's all about maintaining a version of reality where they are the most important person in the world. A narcissistic sister will steal your friends or romantic partners. She will play the victim with your parents, because we know narcissists crave power, and they are perfectly willing to gain it through the sympathy of others. A narcissistic sister will tell your parents how hurtful you've been to her. while also pointing out every mistake you've made to ensure they are seen as the good child. These narcissistic siblings have difficulty understanding and relating to the feelings of others, including their siblings. They may disregard or minimize their siblings' emotions and experiences and fail to show genuine empathy. They have an exaggerated sense of their own importance, and they feel entitled to special treatment and attention from others, including their siblings. Narcissistic siblings may use manipulation tactics such as gaslighting, guilt-tripping, and emotional blackmail to control their siblings and get what they want. Narcissistic siblings crave attention and admiration from others, including their siblings. They may demand constant praise and validation, and they may become jealous or resentful when they do not receive it. Narcissistic siblings may engage in competitive behavior with their siblings, always striving to be the center of attention and the best at everything. Narcissistic siblings may have an inflated sense of their own abilities and accomplishments, and they may feel superior to their siblings. Narcissistic siblings may refuse to take responsibility for their mistakes or shortcomings and instead blame others, including their siblings. Narcissistic siblings may refuse to accept feedback or criticism, and they may become defensive or aggressive when confronted with their flaws or mistakes. Narcissistic siblings may become jealous or envious of their siblings' successes and accomplishments, and they may try to undermine or sabotage them. Now, these narcissistic siblings, they always want to be on the top. They have this tendency that they are the best. They believe in their abilities and talents. They always want to appear on top. The problem is that no one wants to work hard to become the best and the most successful. So they always look for the best and the easiest path. So if you think that your sibling is narcissistic, then yes, your sibling is. They're always looking for the easiest way up. The narcissistic siblings always talk about themselves. It's about them. They think that they're smartest. They have a very high opinion of themselves, and they always try to show it to everyone. They like to act like they know everything. Narcissistic siblings lie. We know that it's human nature, everybody lies. But if you have a narcissistic sibling, they lie all the time. That's a big, clear sign. Because narcissists don't want you to know the truth. They're self-centered, and they have selfish behavior. They hate criticism. No matter what you do or say to a narcissistic sibling, they will never accept it. They will make fun of your ideas, and they will not take you seriously. They will constantly make fun of you, and they will not be able to take criticism. They expect to be the center of attention. They always fell in love with themselves. If you see their pictures or videos, you will not believe that they are your sister or brothers. You will think that they are models and actresses, and you will think that they have a team to take their pictures and videos. If you talk to them, you will realize that they will not even take the time to listen to you. Narcissistic siblings always brag. If you see their social media accounts, you'll find that they will be bragging about their achievements. If they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you will know that they will show off their new boyfriend or girlfriend to you. Narcissistic siblings will not share anything. They will not share their possessions or their money. They will not share the clothes or the food that they are using. If you talk to them, you'll realize that they will not listen to you. They will take everything. They will not share their things, but they will steal things that are important to you. They will use your clothes or bags, your material, your possession, and they will not even tell you that they are using them. Narcissistic siblings don't mind stealing your boyfriend or girlfriend. They will take your boyfriend or girlfriend. That's what narcissistic siblings do. They'll make you feel bad. You will feel bad in your entire life if you have a narcissistic sibling. You'll feel that you are the worst sibling, the worst person in this world. This feeling is that they will not understand the fact that they are a part of that family. The narcissistic sibling will not want to understand that they are responsible for the problems that happen in that family. Narcissistic siblings, they always are in competition with you. They'll turn everything into a life or death tournament with you, whether it's academic performance, whatever it is, it's competition. They want to be better than you. They never accept responsibility. If they do something wrong, it's your fault. Narcissistic siblings are very manipulative. You can't explain it, but you just don't feel good around them. They're overly critical of everything and anything that has to do with you. Narcissistic siblings tell other family members things that you shared with them in private, or they tell family members lies about you, or they over-exaggerate stories that have to do with you. They will fake concern and they'll try to make you feel guilty if you ever do stand up to them. They will paint a picture of you being crazy or mentally unstable to your family. They will be very subtle and cause an argument out of nowhere to make you look bad or even unstable. They are constantly in competition with you. You may see them acting jealous and even going as far as flirting with your sweetheart, your date, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your partner in your face or behind your back. They steal any friends you have, and they may try to interfere with the relationships you have with your other family members. They play the victim very well, and they are very passive-aggressive. You'll feel like they are always judging you. With narcissistic siblings, you feel that they are always asking you personal questions, trying to always dig for more information. They may ask your partner or kids questions about you. They lie to you about anything. And when you call them out, they try and twist things around. You'll just feel exhausted around narcissistic siblings. They suck the life out of you. And you feel depressed after being around them. Your narcissistic siblings, brother, sister, they believe they are more important than you are. They believe they are more important, more special than you are, and that they deserve to be recognized in the family lineage as smarter than you, more successful than you. They want to be the superior offspring. They feel entitled to everything, from the parents' attention, to the better education, to the better job, to better spouse, better kids. They might feel entitled to your money too. Some narcissists are successful where they tend to live parasitically off others. And you might have been one of their victims. They are parasites. Narcissistic siblings are unwilling to recognize the needs and feelings of their siblings. They lack empathy. They don't care about the harm they cause you. When you have a sibling who is a pathological liar, that's a narcissistic sibling. They will lie to exaggerate their own achievements and talents. Now, narcissistic siblings are a pain to have in your life. Now, how do you deal with these narcissistic siblings? Number one, to deal with narcissistic siblings, set clear and definite boundaries. Narcissistic siblings hate boundaries. Minimize contact with them. Communicate in writing. Don't text. Utilize email to outline your concerns and how you're going to address them. Be prepared to be hurt by your narcissistic siblings and for them to manipulate your parents into doing the unimaginable. Just one thing I'll tell you. Remember that you love your parents. Try to not let the narcissistic sibling to impact the relationship you have with your parents. They will try, but it will be hard if you are careful. Accept that your sibling is narcissistic. Get support. Talking to someone who understands what you are going through is probably the best thing you can do. Whether it's a friend, a therapist, or a family member, talking will help you process your feelings and hopefully develop strategies for dealing with your narcissistic sibling. Disrupt their normal routine. If your sibling usually is very self-assured and confident, try disrupting their routine. Do something dramatic. Make them work for something they usually take for granted. It can be tough, but it's essential to show a sibling that they don't always have the upper hand. Define your boundaries. If you feel overwhelmed or stressed out a lot, it may be helpful to establish some boundaries with your narcissistic sibling. You can set limits on how much attention they can give you, deciding when and where conversations will take place, refusing to speak to them altogether. You can go no contact. This helps you to regain control of the situation, and you'll feel better equipped to deal with them in a healthy manner. Don't react emotionally with your narcissistic sibling, because this only makes things worse and it fuels their ego. Be rational, be cool, calm, and collected so that you can deal with them effectively. Keep distance, keep your distance. Stay away from them. Stay away from your narcissistic sibling. This will help you avoid being drawn into their orbit and protect you from them emotionally. If this is not possible, then make sure you have a solid support system to help you cope with the situation. Use self-care strategies. Take good care of yourself to cope with this narcissistic sibling behavior. Practice self-care behavior such as meditation, journaling. This can help you in reducing stress levels and improve your mental health. Remember, the best way to deal with a narcissistic sibling or a narcissist in general is to try to ignore them. Stay away from them as much as possible. When you see they're trying to hurt you, you should get away from them. You cannot change a narcissist. So it is better to be safe than sorry. Don't let your narcissistic siblings get to your head. Understand that the narcissistic sibling cannot and they will not change. We know that narcissists are notoriously resistant to change. Even if they want to change, they don't know how to change. This means that it's highly unlikely that your narcissistic sibling will ever change. Accept this fact and understand that you cannot change them. It can be difficult pill to swallow, but it's an important part of dealing with a narcissistic sibling to know that they cannot change. Don't bang your head against a rock, a wall. Don't bang your head on a brick wall trying to change your narcissistic sibling who is simply incapable of becoming a better person. The only person that you can change is yourself and how you react to their narcissistic behavior. So focus on that instead. Have reasonable limits. Narcissistic siblings, narcissistic sisters thrive on the admiration, praise, or deference that you give them. So spending more time with your narcissistic sibling will lower your self-worth and lead to uncomfortable feelings and agitation. You can limit the amount of time you are exposed to your narcissistic sister. She's still your sister. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it that you see each other on occasion, on important occasions such as holidays, funerals, and so on. So this might be the only times you'll want to spend time with her for the sake of maintaining harmony between family members. Have boundaries. It's a way to protect yourself from someone or something that is causing you harm. Have boundaries, set boundaries with a narcissistic sibling by communicating what you will and what you will not tolerate. You can tell them that you will not tolerate them talking down to you, or that you will leave the room if they start yelling. It is important, very important, to remember that boundaries are not about controlling or changing the other person. It's about taking care of yourself. In order to make sure that your boundaries are respected, you need to be firm and consistent and follow through if your sibling breaks the boundary. If you said that you would leave them if they did something, then do so. You'll most probably never have a fulfilling relationship with your narcissistic sibling. You'll never have a healthy relationship with them. You can draw a line in the sand and outline which of their behaviors are unacceptable. If you don't like how your narcissistic sibling or your narcissistic sister is getting with your friends or your wife, your wife, your husband, your partner, let her know that you don't accept that. Let her know that these are deal breakers. She'll be upset. She'll go on a narcissistic rage. But she will know how far she can push before you begin cutting off her from your life, then get support. When you have a narcissistic sibling, it isolates you from your family members. And we know that family members provide critical emotional support. But most likely your narcissistic sibling will have a hold on them. So make sure you find support in friends who have some distance from that situation. Narcissists are notoriously difficult to communicate with. They often refuse to see things from anyone else's perspective, and they can be very resistant to change. So it is very important to try to communicate with your narcissistic sibling all the same. You might not be able to change their behavior, but it is important to express your needs and feelings. If you are feeling hurt or frustrated, tell them so. It is also important to remember that you don't have to force communication. If they are unwilling to listen, or if the conversation is going nowhere, then you can walk away. Come up with strategies to navigate family get-togethers. And one of the most difficult things about having a narcissistic sibling is dealing with them at family gatherings. Their need for attention and their sense of entitlement can ruin even the happiest of occasions. And one way to deal with this is to come up with a plan before the event. And this might involve sitting down with your other siblings and agreeing on a strategy. For example, you might agree to take turns talking to your narcissistic sibling so that everyone gets a break from their constant need for attention. Another thing that you can do is to try to avoid getting drawn into their drama. If they start stirring up trouble, walk away. It is not worth ruining your own mood just because they're having a bad day. Don't call your narcissistic sibling a narcissist, especially your narcissistic brother. There's plenty of evidence showing that most narcissists know that they have a personality disorder. They just don't see it as a problem. So bring it up to your brother, and when you tell them, he'll feel threatened and demeaned. So this will lead to retaliation, and there's little chance that he'll seek professional help after the encounter. So understand what you are willing to accept. Avoid contact. If you have a narcissistic sibling, you'll know that family get-togethers can be a total nightmare. So dealing with their inflated sense of self-importance and constant need for attention can be incredibly draining. They always seem to find a way to make everything about them. So if you're struggling to deal with your narcissistic sibling, don't worry, you are not alone. Consider going low contact or even no contact if possible. Low contact or no contact. The best way sometimes to deal with a narcissistic sibling is to go low contact, or that complete no contact, complete full no contact. Limit your communication with them or cut them out of your life entirely. Block their number on your phone or on WhatsApp and follow them on social media. Ignore their emails or text messages. Make it clear that you don't want to hear from them. It's a very difficult decision to make, but sometimes it's important to remember that you have a right to protect yourself from someone who is toxic and harmful. If going low contact or no contact is what you need to do to take care of yourself, then that's what you should do. If you choose to go low contact or no contact with your narcissistic sibling, then make sure you have the support of your other family members. It is also very important to be prepared for the possibility that they will try to reach out to you, either directly or indirectly. There is no shame in making this decision, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It's simply a way of taking care of yourself and protecting your own mental and emotional well-being. Boundaries are important for not only you, but the relationship with your siblings. Strong boundaries can preserve a relationship, while weak ones may lead to you cutting them off. Setting a boundary may look a little funny, but it's very important. So build your self-confidence also. Know your limits and when to walk away from your narcissistic sibling. Take care of yourself. Speak with a therapist if possible. A therapist can help you with setting boundaries, building self-confidence, and being kind to yourself when you need a break. Seeking therapy is a sign of strength and willingness to look at areas of your life that are in need of changes. Get professional help. If you find that you're not managing to make inroads in your relationship with your sibling, or that other family members are blocking your attempts to set up healthy boundaries or reduce contact, then you might need to get professional help. A therapist can help you to reframe the situation and to come up with different strategies for dealing with your narcissistic sibling. Sometimes even family therapy can help. Family counseling can be a great way to work through the issues you are having with your narcissistic sibling. It can also help other family members to understand what you are going through and why you've made that decision you have. Learn all you can about narcissism. Read about the narcissistic traits. Learn the narcissist manipulative tactics that they are likely to use so that you know what to watch out for when the situation arises. We know that narcissists are master manipulators. Avoid contact when it's possible. Don't call your sibling out as a narcissist. Once you've learned the signs of a narcissist and you've established that your brother or sister truly is a narcissist, you might be tempted to call them a narcissist. A narcissist can't see what's wrong with themselves. So your sibling will find a way to turn it back on you, making you feel like you're the one with the problem or that you're the crazy one. They'll blame you. Because we know that placing blame is one of the narcissist tools, and there's no way you can ever reach the level of deception that a narcissist can. They're master manipulators. If you attempt to call your sibling a narcissist, it won't be long until this person paints himself or herself as the victim and you as the abuser. Always remember that your sibling has a personality disorder that he or she can't control, and they may never be able to control until they are willing to change with the help of a qualified therapist. Identify your choices. Know when you can avoid your narcissistic sibling. If you can't, because you still live together, know that you can decide whether or not to get sucked into his or her nightmare. Your narcissistic sibling wants you to be a certain way that fits in with his or her drama. You don't have to play the role that he or she writes for you. Make it a point to choose the way that you want. The more you learn about the tools narcissists use, the manipulative tools they use, the easier it will be for you to know when your sibling is trying to manipulate you. When your sibling is trying to manipulate other people or situations. So you can choose not to be involved. If you get into a conversation where the narcissist is playing victim, you'll need to decide if it's in your best interest to agree or provide them with potential options. Alright? Pointing out the choices available to your sibling can keep you from getting pulled into his or her drama by showing you're not falling for this victim mentality. As with any narcissistic relationship, you should set boundaries. It is very important. Once you put your foot down, it is very important that you stick with any boundaries that you set and follow through with any consequences. A narcissist doesn't care about boundaries. Your sibling may always take your possessions. They will always barge in on your privacy. They'll cross your boundary. They'll cross boundaries that you may try to establish. There'll be a lot of resistance at first, since your sibling has a set pattern and they have a habit of doing what they do. But this is why making consequences and sticking with them is very important. Once your sibling realizes that you mean business, then he or she may respect your boundaries a bit more, because he or she will be more focused on finding other means to get what he or she wants. Set limits. Have limits on what you are willing to do for your narcissistic sibling. Don't argue with them. Don't argue with your narcissistic sibling. When you start to initiate changes to improve your well-being, this will be met with resistance. So be prepared for that. Under no circumstances should you let your narcissistic sibling draw you into an argument. Because your narcissistic brother or sister will try to point out why things should stay the same. He or she will turn everything around to make you out to be a monster, while they are the victim, as always. We know that the narcissists are master manipulators. You will never be able to win an argument with them. Your sibling must always feel superior. So it's best to avoid that confrontation with them. Don't explain yourself or argue to defend yourself. You know that you are doing the right thing, and your sibling can choose to accept it or not. You can get support. Find a trusted friend. or source to be with you when you need to be around your sibling. Your brother or sister is less likely to show their dark side around another person they want to impress. So find someone you can talk to in confidence about the situation. It is very important that someone hears your side of the story, as the narcissist has likely painted you as the bad guy in all of your disagreements. Get counseling if you can. It will help. Recognize the signs of narcissism. Educate yourself about narcissism and how it manifests itself in relationships. Look for signs such as a lack of empathy, excessive self-focus, need for admiration. Set boundaries. Have clear boundaries and communicate them to your sibling. Let them know what behaviors are unacceptable and what consequences will follow if those boundaries are crossed. Narcissist siblings thrive on drama and attention. Avoid engaging in arguments or attempts to change their behavior. Instead, focus on setting boundaries and sticking to them. Don't internalize their criticism or take responsibility for their actions. Talk to a therapist, a trusted friend or family member about your experiences with your narcissistic sibling. They can offer support. Take care of yourself by engaging in activities that make you feel good, such as exercising, meditation, spending time with friends. This will help you maintain your emotional well-being and resilience. Stay calm and composed. Don't enable their behavior. Avoid enabling the narcissistic behavior of your sibling by refusing to cater to their needs or validate their sense of entitlement. Focus on your own goals and aspirations. Realizing that you have a narcissistic sibling is devastating, because the bond with your narcissistic sibling should be one of your closest personal relationships. Instead, you have someone constantly trying to undermine you and is out to destroy your relationships with other family members. The good thing is that recognizing them as narcissists is the first step in healing from their abuses and setting boundaries for the future. You'll most likely never have the warm and loving relationship you seek with your sibling, but with careful limits, you can at least have some peace of mind, some good kind of relationship. We all long to have strong and healthy relationships with our family members, with our parents, with our siblings. But sometimes this is simply not possible. So if you have a narcissistic sibling, it's important to remember that you did not cause their narcissism and that you cannot change them. So focus on building relationships with those family members who are supportive and positive. And if you need to take some time for yourself and go low contact or no contact with your narcissistic sibling, taking care of yourself should always be your number one priority. So always make sure that you have boundaries, because these boundaries can help you establish your identity, define your responsibilities, and protect your rights. When you are with a narcissist, setting boundaries to protect your mental health and well-being is essential, because boundaries with a narcissistic family member could include how much time you spend with them or how much personal information you share with them. It also gives you the right not to put up with their verbal abuse, drama, and other attempts to manipulate you. Make it very clear to your narcissistic family members what behavior you will not tolerate. So stay firm on your boundaries, because narcissists will constantly push those boundaries. Even if you set strict limits, your narcissistic family members may disregard them. So if this happens, try not to react to their provocations. Avoid direct confrontations. Avoid direct conflicts with a narcissist to avoid getting trapped in their abuse cycle. So don't feel compelled to defend, to justify, or explain yourself, since nothing you do will ever satisfy a narcissist. Just stick to the facts and avoid engaging in unnecessary conversation. Don't respond to their attacks. Don't let your narcissistic family member engage you in endless blame and guilt, because this is their way of maintaining power over you. Narcissists prey on insecure people with low self-esteem because they provide an ideal narcissistic supply. So use affirmations, journaling, and self-compassion to reject self-limiting beliefs. Instead, acknowledge that you are a valuable person who deserves love and respect. Build a support system. Reduce contact with these narcissists. If they consistently violate your limits, consider restricting or stopping contact with them. Set limits on how frequently you communicate with them, text them, answering their calls, or spending time with them. This is very important aspect of self-care when dealing with a narcissistic family member. Learn to say no. Practice regular self-compassion. So, when should you consider cutting contact with a family member? Cutting your narcissistic family member off may be the safest thing when toxic family relationships start impacting your mental health, other relationships, and well-being. Dealing with a narcissistic sibling can be a very difficult task, but it is important to know that you have the power to protect your emotional well-being and find a path forward. Recognize the signs of narcissistic behavior, set healthy boundaries, and seek support from loved ones. This can help you navigate the complex and often painful dynamics of a dysfunctional sibling relationship. Remember that you are not responsible for your sibling's behavior, and it is important to prioritize your own needs and emotions. With patience, with self-compassion, and a willingness to seek help, you can heal from the impact of narcissistic behavior, and you can find a way to create a healthier relationship within your family. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Catch you later in the next video. Subscribe.